see all of you. Hi, hi, hi. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. Just getting off a killer launch last week on our amazing workshop all about OBMs, how you become one, what that looks like, how you get clients. It was just fantastic. The turnout was so great. So grateful for you all being here. And hello to all of you in Facebook and LinkedIn and here with us on Zoom. Very excited to see all of you. As always, I am your host, Ashley Connell, CEO and founder of Prowess Project. And what the heck are we doing here? And what is Prowess Project? So, Prowess Project, our mission is to help women who are educated, experienced, create that flexible work environment that they want so they have time for both their career and also their family. We saw this horrific statistic and problem out in specifically the US, how 43% of women leave the workforce to do caregiving. And when they were out of the workforce for just 3 years, they lost a total of 37% of their compensation power. Well, we went out and talked to thousands of them. And what we heard over and over again was, Ashley, I have all of this to give, but it's much like a patchwork quilt versus a linear pathway, my career. So I had some ops, I had some tech, I had some marketing, I had some sales. How do I create a career out of that? And we were like, have no fear. And that's where Leah and I teamed up 4 years ago and created Prowess Project, where we help vet and certify online business managers who are essentially the integrators and run the day-to-day business for the visionaries out there. So the consultants, the coaches, the people who are selling online, but got into business because they love their craft, not necessarily because they love the art of business. And so that is what we are all doing here today, our live show to talk to online business managers and aspiring online business managers on what that looks like. And today, ladies, I have a wonderful guest for you. So at the beginning of the year, when we were talking about what you want, what type of content you want in the live show, what we heard over and over again is, yes, the how-tos are awesome, the tips are great, talking more about what online business managers do, that's all fantastic. But we want to hear from coaches. We want to hear from clients or potential clients so we can get into their minds and figure out how we can best serve them as online business managers. And we were like, amazing. Absolutely. So we have been lining up a ton of guests for you. But before we get started, some quick housekeeping. As always, we want this to be as interactive as possible. Please comment in the chat on Zoom, or if you're in Facebook or on LinkedIn or on YouTube, feel free to chat directly in there and we will get your questions. This time is for you. So we definitely want this to be as interactive as possible. And as always, to get the interaction and the juices flowing, I want to open this with a one-word opener. It is February 1st. We are 1 month into 2023. Give me one word that encompasses how you're feeling right now. Good, bad, ugly. Like, give it, just lay it on me. Put it in the chat. I want to hear how we are all feeling. Optimistic. Yes. That is a great one. We love that one. Hopeful. Oh, Julie, I love that one. Jaylene loved optimistic. Hopeful. Oh, we got thriving. Hello. Yes. Driven. Love it. Mine right now would be buzzing. And I keep on bringing this one up over and over again. I'm feeling just that. Things are happening. I feel like the undercurrent is there. It's swirling. Things are moving. The current is taking us all in the right direction and it's all happening, which is so exciting. And I'm pumped for everything that 2023 is going to bring us. Ooh, Amitha, love it. Productive. Love it. All right. Well, without further ado, I am going to introduce us to our guest today. It is Dr. Ty Richardson. So, bit about Ty. Love Ty. He is one of Leah and my coaches, and he is really that person who 100% has the business know-how done. He has been a consultant and a coach to coaches for years. But what I love about him, almost as much as his business acumen, is the way he thinks about mindset and the way he is constantly cheering us on, but not in this fake optimistic way, in a very results driven and very calculated, measurable way of thinking about business and thinking about all of our potential. So, as always, I gave Ty a little bit of overview of what we do in this live show, and the bio that he sent me was basically pages long because he has done so much. So, I am not going to introduce Ty. I am going to hand it over to him. Thank you so much for being with us, Ty. Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, thank you, Ashley and Leah, and you two are two of my favorites. You guys know that, and you're my favorites because I love what you have going on here. I love what you're doing, and for me, this is a give back, right? This isn't a business. This is an opportunity where you ladies are saying, "Hey, we know this problem, and we're gonna solve it, and we're gonna help everybody who has the same problem solve it." So I really love that about you guys and what you're doing here. So a little bit about me. I began my career in corporate America at the ripe old age of 17. Actually, it wasn't corporate America at the time, it was corporate Trinidad. But I spent 14 years in a Fortune 100 company climbing the ranks, and I left to become an entrepreneur. I went to Silicon Valley, I built a social network, I failed at it, and then I pivoted and became a digital nomad. And with that, I traveled throughout the Caribbean and I built a six-figure marketing agency by accident. In so doing, I decided, okay, this is kind of cool and fun, but I had an opportunity to get into finance, and I did. I pivoted and went into finance, and I built a finance company, which turned into seven figures in its first year. And then I thought, okay, I really love all this, but I want to be a coach. So I went to Gallup and I got certified as a strengths-based coach. And I became a performance coach, did that, landed my first six-figure contract in the first year. And then from there, we went, so that's 2018, 2019. I came to Fort Lauderdale. I grew my businesses. They were all still active. And then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, I spent 2 years sort of still doing what I was doing, but everything became a lot lonelier. It became a lot more isolated. And coming out of COVID, I said, you know what, I want to keep doing what I do, but I want to be part of a bigger team. I want to get in, and I want to have people who I can resource for different things that I don't want to do, and learn from, and just be part of that buzz that goes with being in a bigger company again. And so I joined Kelly Roach Coaching. They recruited me, and I joined Kelly Roach Coaching, where I came in initially just to do strategy for a few clients. And then in August of last year, Kelly asked me if I can build the consulting agency within Kelly Roach Coaching. And so I became a VP here to build the consulting. And then as of January now, I kind of oversee all of customer delivery and customer service. Mm-hmm.
So he hasn't been busy. Quite the bum that we brought to all of you today. I know, Julie. Wow. So, I mean, Ty, I could go in a million different directions, but as a reminder, all of the audience who is listening today are either already online business managers or aspiring online business managers. And so because you are coaching coaches and consultants all day long, and that's typically whose OBM's clients are, I'm curious, like, when your clients are coming to you and they're like, Ty, I want to scale my business. I know I have something here. I'm hit this six-figure mark, but I know I can get more. What do you tell them they need the most help with? Or what do they even say to you that they need the most help with?
So, a lot of folks need help. It depends. So when somebody comes to me, first of all, and says, I want to scale, my first question is, what are your strengths? And it's really, each CEO needs to know what they're good at and what they need support with. Most people are visionaries. Most people know they want to grow the business, but they lack the tactical or the actual tactical approach to doing that. They don't know the details, right? They see the vision, they don't know the details. Some folks, they are worker bees, but they need help translating that into a strategy that can grow their business. So it
Mm.
starts with first as the coach or the CEO understanding, well, what am I good at? What do I want to keep doing? What do I see myself doing in 5 years? And then what am I not good at? What are my weaknesses? Where do I need the help? And it's usually in the details and the tactical execution.
And can you give us concrete examples of what the tactical execution could look like?
Yeah. So if somebody says, I'm making 100,000 this year and I want to scale to 300,000, they know they want to scale to 300,000, right? They may not know, well, what does that mean in terms of number of staff that I have to add? Or what does that mean in terms of vendors I need to manage relationships with? Or what does that mean in terms of my P&L sheet? Like, how do I understand my profit centers, my cost centers? How do I reduce expenses and increase profit? Those are the type of things that are tactical. It's really understanding the business, because a lot of times too, coaches become coaches because they're good at what they were doing as practitioners. So it might be a doctor or it might be a speaker. They know what they do well. They deliver on that, but they don't all come knowing business. They don't know entrepreneurship. And so having a right hand or somebody who knows business allows them the freedom to be excellent in their zone of genius, to be the practitioner that they know they can be and create the audience that they want to create while somebody else is running the business.
Oh, I love, love, love this. And feel free to put in the chat any questions that y'all have. I have plenty to cover the next 15 minutes, but again, this time is yours. Um, so, so as you said, a lot of your clients have their zone of genius is not the tactical, is not the running the business. And you work with coaches who are well into 7, 8 figures to the ones who are just getting started.
Mhm.
At what revenue range do you see them starting to hire an online business manager?
So it varies, right? Again, it kind of varies on what that zone of genius that the CEO has or that the coach
Mm,
has, because
mhm.
sometimes, they're able to make it all the way up to 200, 250 on their own, or, with a virtual assistant. I think usually the consensus is when you get to 250, that's when you start running into growing pains, right? If you're doing it by yourself, that's when you kind of need somebody, but you may not need somebody full-time, right? You may need a part-timer to come in and start helping you get the strategy. But when you cross 250 and you get to that 500 mark, you definitely need somebody. At that point, you can no longer do it. And this is where the value of an OBM becomes critical, because the responsibility of somebody at that point wanting to aid that entrepreneur is to show that entrepreneur, well, you made it all the way to 5 with the resources you had. I can help you get to 1 million, or I can help you get to 7 figures and above, because you while you've done a good job, you probably have missed some really critical things, and you will run into even more critical things as you scale. So I would say that at the 100, 250, that's sort of when an OBM person can start looking at keeping an entrepreneur or a coach in their pipeline. Say, okay, this person's made it to 100. They need to monitor them, keep nurturing them. It's just like the live launch that we show you guys, right? You've got to nurture your ideal client. And so nurture, 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 watch them get to 250 and then jump in there and say, okay,
I
that's the.
love it.
Mhm.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So a lot of these women on the phone who are becoming OBMs, they are starting to get their first clients. What is important to know when working with the visionary types or coaches and consultants in the online space? What is a personality trait that you see that they should be aware of so that the relationship can be as mutually beneficial as possible?
Okay, so there are two parts to this question. Part number one is when you're interacting, and this goes for any customer,
Okay.
you've got to almost observe before you deliver. And what I mean by that is, because CEOs and wannabe CEOs are people who are so different in their in their behavior, in their characteristics. You've got to, as an OBM, it's your job to understand that person before you present. What I mean by that is sometimes you have the CEO or the coach who is very ego driven, very visionary, very much so you can't come in and challenge that, right? You have to come in and offer supportive solutions and be sort of that person who can catch the things that they don't want to do and allow them to thrive in that space. But then sometimes you get the ones who are also very detail driven, very control oriented, which is not a bad thing. That's their operation. And so you have to come in at that point and be sort of more broad stroke, more visionary, more strategist to be able to complement them. So it's really making sure you know your client, you understand who they are, and you complement their weaknesses. They don't want another one of them, right? They want somebody who can complement their weaknesses. So quickly within minutes of your interaction, you've got to start being able to ask the right questions and be able to understand the weaknesses. At a macro level, you want to make sure that as an OBM, looking for your first couple of clients, you are very clear on what you're bringing to the table. You have to be very, very clear on the solutions. And I'm talking about a menu of solutions, a menu of things that you're an expert in, that you are able to do dynamically better than anybody else. What makes you unique? Sprinkle a little bit of personality on that. And then you serve it up to whoever your prospect is, making sure that you take off some of the side items if it conflicts with their personality. And then you add in some special meals if you have to, just in case that's what they need.
I love this, Ty, because you are touching on something that we say all the time, how incredibly important it is for OBMs to be very in tune with emotional intelligence and to be able to flex in communication style because of the visionaries that they're working with. Yes, sometimes it has to be a little bit delicate because their business are their babies, like that's their child. And so I love to hear that you're seeing the successful visionary integrator type relationships. The integrator has that strong emotional intelligence. So I'm loving what you're saying about that.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to note as well is a lot of times these people are in the market or looking for support, but they don't know what they don't know. And so it's your job to know that they don't know what they don't know, so you can show them what they don't know, so then they know it.
I'm going to need to get the transcript of what you just said because it made perfect sense to me, but also like I want that to be a quote because it's so true. And what I want all of you in the audience to take away from that is you should have confidence. You absolutely should have confidence because your job is what needs to get done. They don't. And so a lot of the times that's something that as any professional, we struggle with this imposter syndrome. But again, listen to what Ty said. They don't know what they know, and you do know what they need. And so again, love that. Ty, something that another topic that I love that you talk about and you really celebrate is this idea of intrapreneurship. So we all know entrepreneurship, but can you explain what intrapreneurship is and why it is especially important for OBMs or the number twos?
Yeah, so entrepreneurship is that concept of you being a CEO within a company. And it goes back to us kind of just talking about what we talked about. The CEO has their zone of genius, right? Whether that's visionary strategy, whether it's, they want to be a practitioner, they have their zone of genius. They often want that OBM or that number two to come in and be in their zone of genius, because they want to say, okay, I want to scale my company, to 7 figures. They expect you to know the path to do that. They expect you to know whether you're managing teams or you're managing the numbers, whatever you're managing. They don't want to have to manage you. That's your job. Your job is to come in and be their right hand, give them the updates that they need, but you come up with the strategy for execution. So it's being a leader of an organization, being a leader of a department, being a CEO within a company where you're making decisions, you're designing strategy, you're getting results, you're executing, and then you're just presenting or collaborating with the CEO, with the coach, with the rest of the group who are getting that scale done.
I love it. So in our coaching and training program, the OBM certification, we talk a lot about that, about and have a lot of resources for our OBMs so that they know, okay, this company is at this stage. Here are the things that they need at this stage. Okay, let's go to the next phase. Here are the different things. Because you're exactly right. As a CEO, I don't want to manage my number two. I want to make sure that they're getting their stuff done. And so I love the power in the word entrepreneurship. I just think it's so wonderful. And I'm glad that there's more and more talk about it
Mhm.
lately. Just love it. So, of what we hear a lot from coaches and consultants is, hey, I don't know if I need an OBM because I have tried to get several virtual assistants in the past and they've always burned me. So why would I ever get an online business manager?
Mhm.
So, Ty, can you explain from your experience any differences in the actual business that your clients have had when they made the investment from a VA that they've been burdened from to more of an OBM who's thinking more strategically?
Yeah, I think you just kind of alluded to one thing that we need to make sure we express differently. If a client is comparing an OBM looking to work with them with a VA that they've had, that's a misalignment. Okay, a
Yes.
VA is somebody who you give tasks to and they execute. An OBM is somebody you give a vision to and they strategize. It's two very different things. And so making sure that you are first correcting the coach or the consultant or the CEO with the differentiation so that they get a little bit of awareness. And then you have to go into that as the number two, as the person who's saying, okay, I've looked at your business, I've assessed what you're doing, and quickly, right off the bat, here's something that I think you guys can do. And you have to point them and demonstrate and illustrate to them, this is what strategy looks like. Because we just said, they don't know what they don't know. And they think coming in here, oh, this is just somebody I'm gonna have to tell what to do over and over. And they're gonna just, they're gonna be responsible for managing this OBM. So it's really an education opportunity to shift and reframe what that person's thinking in terms of VA versus OBM, and then illustrating to them, this is what a flavor, a taste of this is what they're going to get. So I go back to the live launch. Like when we do a live launch, we kind of show you guys and give you guys content, and then we open cart. Okay. Same thing with the OBM. I've got to give you a window in what I can do, what I can illustrate, what I can show you that will show you the next level thinking that you're getting with me that is not the same that you had with a VA. I don't know if I hit the question that you asked though.
Oh, no. Well, what you did was perfectly explain how, as an OBM, you can educate on the difference between the value you would be getting and the results you will be getting from an OBM versus a VA. So, in your experience, do you have any of your coaching or consulting clients that are coming to mind that did make the switch from a VA to an OBM? And what was that? What results did they see?
Yeah, we've had clients. So we have clients that up level throughout our programs, right? And so we go from the starter program to empire builders to like legacy builders and legacy leaders. And so what we see a lot in the legacy builders program is this shift. That's when people start moving away from VAs or adding to the VA a social seller, or they add an OBM, because you, like we talked about earlier, you can't get from 500 to the next level without actual support, not admin support, actual support. And so 3 clients come to mind right away that I can already say, like, they made the decision to go from a VA that was just task oriented to hiring an OBM, which is somebody who they've had as their right hand as they grow the business.
Oh, love it. So we have about 5 minutes left. I want to make sure, does anyone have any questions? Put them in the chat. If not, I can keep on going. Awesome. So for the clients that you have that are resistant to hire an OBM, what is the reason typically? And to give you some context, the reason why I'm asking is I am trying to um, tease out some objections that our OBMs may hear
Mhm.
when they are selling. So how would you handle some of that?
Okay, so the number one objection is always money. It's
Yeah.
always like, I don't know if I can add that cost to my bottom line. And I don't know if, if my business can afford it. And at that point, I would pivot right back to, are you not trying to scale? Like, you cannot think about this as a cost to the money you've already spent. Right now, your business may not be able to afford it, but can you afford not to do it if you want to get to the next 6 or 7 figures? Think of this as an investment in the business, in your future, because it isn't based on what you've done. What you've done okay. But if you want to do something differently, if you want to get to a different level, you have to do something differently. You can't do what you did in the past because you'll get the same results you got in the past. What you can do is look to the future, add an investment into the business, and use that investment to scale to the numbers you want to scale to.
Put perfectly. Absolutely love it. Yes, yes, yes. Ty, nailed it, nailed it. So we do have a question from Amitha. What kinds of questions would you suggest asking before joining up with a coach or consultant that could help determine if you are a right fit for them? Am I saying that correctly, Amitha? Just give us a thumbs up.
So the question there is, what questions does the OBM ask to see if there's a fit?
Correct.
That really is intrinsic to the OBM. So for some, and it's a very good question, because it does make a shift in the dynamic, because it's not you as an OBM looking for a job, and therefore, it's up to the hiring manager to hire you. No. We're looking for a mutual fit. We're looking for an opportunity to grow a company together with a partnered CEO, that entrepreneurship again. So first of all, if for you as an OBM, you want to make sure there's a a corporate culture that you can work with, that this person's receptive to feedback, this person's not a micromanager, this person's open to ideas, open to new ways of thinking, values and respects different perspectives. Those are the types of things you want to ask from your perspective, because you want to be able to work with somebody like that. At the same time, you want to also know from them, like, what are their expectations? What are they looking for in a partner? Where are they looking to be in the next 3 to 5 years? What do they look like in terms of expanding the team? Do they want to have only contractors? Do they want to have on-staff employees? Because that will educate on whether you need to bring in some HR skills, whether you need to make sure that your contract skills are up to date, like those resources are in place. So you want to make sure, first and foremost, because this is a partnership, you want to make sure that the relationship that you will have and do have with this CEO is ideal and optimal for your success and their success.
Love it. Well, we have 1 minute left. This 30 minutes absolutely flew. Do you have any last words for our OBMs?
I think that this is the perfect opportunity. This is the perfect time in the market. We're going through recession right now, which gives us 2 things. One, it gives us a bunch of people who are laid off that just got a nice severance package, that are looking to all become coaches and go into business themselves, and have no clue what they're doing, and maybe good practitioners, but they need somebody to manage the business. And then on the second part of that, we have all these companies that are now downsizing and probably reducing their corporate staff and their CEOs and their COOs, and their CFOs, that could very well do with an outsourced resource to help them keep the business running or grow the business in these economic times. So it's a great time to be an OBM. I would jump in and explode.
Amazing. Well, where can everyone find you, Ty? You have just been fantastic. We're so grateful to have you.
You can all reach me on LinkedIn.
Fantastic.
Yeah, you guys have my link. You can share it with the
Yep,
group. I'm happy
absolutely.
to, and I do have a website. It's drtyrichardson.com.
Yeah, drtyrichardson.com. Well, thank you. It has been a wonderful interview, and thank you all of you who have joined us. We will see you next week. Leah is talking all about no code and how you can use that to your advantage and really differentiate yourself, because you could be an expert in it.
All right,
Thank you
everyone.
all. Have a wonderful Wednesday.